incredible.
Welcome to Game Changer Weekly. John, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. We've got a great interview coming in here with Gringo Loco. We're so thankful to have him tonight. How are you doing so far, Brant?
I'm doing good, and I'm excited to have Gringo Loco on our show tonight. And thank you for joining us tonight, Gringo. I think he's waiting for the intro, John. We got to give him the intro.
All right, then. We'll go ahead and just cut straight into intro. Here we go. Tonight, we're fortunate to have a very special guest with us, Gringo Loco. He hails from Chicago, Illinois, 39 years old with 24 years in ring experience. Gringo was trained by Skyday, who was trained by 39-time champion Ultimo Dragon. Mr. Loco is an 11-time champion, averaging almost half a year per title reign. He's almost completely conquered North America, winning titles across Mexico, the United States, and Canada. He currently holds 3 championships: the Warrior Wrestling Lucha Championship, 584 days in running; the Demand Royal Canadian Tag Team Championship with Ares, 222 days in running; and the House of Glory Cruiserweight Championship, 158 days in running. He's also held titles at Wrestling Revolver, Defy, AIW, Dreamwave, and several Mexican companies. Gringo's first appearance in GCW was on April 6, 2018 at Joey Janela's Spring Break 2. He debuted in an unannounced 6-way scramble with Eli Everfly, DJ Z, KTB, Teddy Hart, and Tony Deppen. Since then, he's performed at GCW 142 times. He has a recorded 750 plus matches in his career, with his busiest year being 2023, where he tagged in 122 matches. He's also participated in 14 tournaments in his career, finishing as semifinalist or better in over half of them. This year, his PWI 500 ranking puts him in the top 200, number 193. A standout performer, Gringo is known for his impressive mix of lucha libre and American wrestling styles. He consistently delivers exciting matches with his high-flying abilities, agility, and technical prowess. He's one of the most entertaining and respected wrestlers on the independent circuit, and he's our guest for the night. Listeners, I would like to introduce to you GCW original, fan favorite, the bass god, Gringo Loco. Welcome, Gringo.
My goodness. Wow. What an introduction. That was incredible. And I just learned so much about myself. That's unbelievable. I didn't even know half of those stats, but that is some homework. You did some digging. Brought me back through memory lane too, man, with some of those stats. Wow. Thank you for that. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys this evening.
Appreciate you so much, brother. Well, do we start digging into the questions right off the bat? We already got people rolling in here, and see what we can do with old Gringo.
So I might ask the most simplest question right off the bat, just because we just said his name. The bass god. Who came up with that? And explain a little bit about that, because that was like, you were the first person I ever heard the word bass in wrestling. And ever since then, now I see, notice other wrestlers be good basses and be bass, mini bass gods. But I wanted to find out who gave you the nickname originally of bass god.
Yeah, so the original idea was it was a conversation that came up between me and DJ Z at training. We were talking about basing and, how many great bases there are in wrestling and who hadn't dropped anyone really in their career, most of them residing in CMLL. and of course a couple other people like Taurus and AAA and all that. And then he goes to me, he says, have you ever dropped anyone? I was like, I always try not to, but I don't think I've ever had like a bad drop. He's like, well, I mean, you're one of the best bassists in the world, man. You're a bass god. And he's like, you're a god of bass. And I'm like, dude, that sounds kind of like a moniker I could go by. He's like, yeah, man, just start calling yourself bass god and just run with it, bro. And I was like, this is something that could potentially work. Let's see if the fans kind of gravitate towards the name and see if we can make something out of nothing, So there are multiple bass gods on the planet. I just happen to run with the name.
Up muted, John, right off the
There
bat.
we go. Just put the word "the" in the beginning so everyone knows you're the bass god.
The bass god, yeah. So it's worked out in my favor. Bass god, Gringo Loco, worldwide bass god. It all just kind of jumbles together at this point. But I pride myself on taking care of my opponent, really. I mean, and I think those guys down in CMLL, it's what they thrive on as well. So, I'm constantly studying and making sure that I'm up to par with what they're doing down there. And, taking care of your opponent is number one on my list.
I want to say like the best example I want to say of you like being the bass god, and I think like for me best example is that Lucha at the original Hammerstein. That 6-way Lucha match was just incredible, and how you were just able to control the match and like how well it just flowed and everything was so perfect, and all the spots just like literally was flawless. Like that was the night I think if I had to go show like your original why they call you the bass god, that would be the night.
Yeah, that was a really incredible evening. I can't take away from the opponents that I had in the ring, along with my partners. When you had trios like that, those were the top luchadors that we could get at that moment in time. You're talking Bandito, Aris, Flamita is another bass god. Bandito is a bass god. I took those two elements. I looked at both sides. I knew the capacity that Bandito had, and he could pull off that tower spot with me. And from that, it kind of grew into a Canadian destroyer or whatever. But like the original idea was two towers in the middle of Hammerstein coming together slowly and just having people say, what the fuck is about to happen? And, at the very end of that spot, we did get them and we had them for the rest of the match. But man, what an incredible evening at Hammerstein. Quick story going into that. When I first saw, because I was kind of still new in GCW when Hammerstein was announced. This is legit a shoot. I didn't think I was going to be booked at Hammerstein. So when I saw the announcement, I said, man, all those GCW guys who are like super in are going to have such an incredible evening in New York. And then I ended up getting booked and having like an incredible match. So like, you never really know what's going to happen in professional wrestling.
I'll be honest with you. No offense to anything that night. That's the night I show any Lucha fan. Like when I try to get, like if they're into Lucha wrestling and they never heard of GCW, I always go to that match. That was the match of the night, I think, for Hammerstein, in my opinion. And you got that, what you said, the holy fuck moment. My son literally grabbed me on my shoulder. He's like, what the fuck are they doing? Like he was so stunned of the double tower. And I'm like, I have no idea. And I have the same reaction. That spot, like I totally forgot about that spot and how the visual, I didn't even think about how that visual would come across out there.
Yeah, you just want to make people, second guess, like, what is happening? There's two people stacked on people on the bottom, and they're going towards each other. What is about to happen? And there's no way to answer that because it's never been done before in wrestling. So that's what I always try to do. I try to bring something that you've never seen before.
And I don't know if you've probably heard the show before, but I've been one of these people that say, I have watched you fucked situations midair multiple times before. So
again, it's something that I thrive on, and I really appreciate you pointing that out and really taking the time to be like, that was all Gringo. Not a lot of fans can look at a situation and recognize that, wow, he just saved whatever the situation was. So again, it's me just being a professional and doing my job, but it is something that I thrive on at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's just I've seen the adjustments of inches. Sometimes it's just 2-3 inches here. Make sure that their head hits here instead of on someone's leg or whatnot. So yeah, just damn, dude. I had to give you credit on that because I don't know if with the interviews I listened to, I don't think I've heard anyone else just say, hey, I've really seen you twist, turn, push, pull to make sure everything goes off right. And sometimes it's not even your responsibility, but you made it your responsibility.
Exactly. No, there's been many, many instances. One of the first clips that I got put on where I had like, I don't know, 40,000 views for the first time in my career was with Trey Miguel, AJ Gray in Glory Pro. It was in a scramble, and AJ Gray launches Trey Miguel from the ring. There was a ramp that connected perfectly to the ring, and I was on the ramp, and he launches Trey with all of his strength. And AJ Gray is a powerful dude over the top rope onto where I was at the ramp. And if you see some of these angles, if you go back and watch it, I look like an outfielder going back a couple feet because AJ was a lot stronger than we all thought. I would look like an outfielder catching a body. I had to shift multiple steps behind me to make sure that Trey was okay, because Trey is my heart. Trey Miguel, man. I'm so happy for everything that's happening for him. But I was able to adjust in the moment, save his life, and then the rest of the match was fantastic as well. But many instances where Base God can be seen doing what he does.
I wanted to kind of jump on something here. You have been plagued recently by locals not tightening the ropes appropriately, or I'm guessing maybe just older equipment comes loose. I was wondering, has this maybe started a thing where someone from your side is checking all these things before showtime?
So I would hope so. I would hope they would be tightened before every match, right? But when it comes to one of my matches, and I know exactly that there's going to be a lot of rope usage. Can we wipe down the ropes? Can we tighten them? Can we make sure the ring is the best that it can be for this evening for our match, please? It's not a lot to ask. Just get the tools out, give it a couple spins. That's all we're asking for. If we're going out there and it's wet, floppy ropes, like, it's just kind of a disrespectful, offensive thing to ask us to go out and perform in a ring like that. Not a lot of people see it the same way that I do, but I'm the one performing in that ring. So, again, I had a situation, I'm sure you guys know, where I felt that I didn't perform up to my par in that city because of the ring that I was given. Whatever the situation was with the ring beforehand of that day, whatever, I didn't know all that information, but it's just one of those things where I went out there and I was like, wow, this is going to hinder my performance. And that is the absolute last thing that I want to do, leaving fans thinking, wow, he didn't really have a typical Gringo match. That's the last thing that I would ever want.
Well, I think it was fair to say something. I really do, because it's literally, like you said, your neck and others.
Or somebody else's neck, which is even worse,
Well, yeah, you're speaking up for quite a few people there,
All right.
Takes guts. Good stuff. Veteran move, by the way. Definitely a veteran move there. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Here we go. What age did you start wrestling? Or watching wrestling.
Oh, watching wrestling.
We'll
yeah. I mean, we're talking a child, WWF superstars, red, white, and blue ropes, man. Became fascinated with what I was watching on my TV. It was one of the only channels that came through, honestly. So it was like, okay, this is the coolest thing ever, and it's the only channel that works. So I started watching it Saturday afternoons, and I just couldn't believe what was going on. Like, larger than life personas. These guys are getting killed in 2 minutes. What came to be squash matches. I didn't know what the hell I was watching, but became fascinated with The Undertaker, and it was all from there, man. Got to high school, and we started rolling around in a gymnastics blue tumbling floor, and we kind of carved out our own little corner of that gym on open gym day, which was Wednesday. We did that for like 2 years and performed all the moves that we saw on WWF Superstars, honestly. Rock bottom, stone cold stunners, Pearl River plunges, brother. That's what it's always going to be called for me. And, stuff like that. And we started, getting better and better. And then, long story short, if you want to get into it, I got discovered at that gymnastics place and became a luchador. Not too long after that, I went to a Lucha Libre gym, which was very discreet. I mean, if you didn't get invited to this place, you would never find it. It was on this weird corner with nothing announcing that it was a Lucha Libre gym, and just very hidden, very discreet. And they had shows like every Saturday, which is incredible. I don't know how people found out about it, but I mean, there was no social media. There was no, you know what I mean? But people would show up every Saturday. I don't even know how that would even happen. But yeah, that's where I got my start here in Chicago.
So I'm going to fast forward 2004, 2005. I have here you were trained by Skyday at his gym. Is this the gym you're talking about, or is there one before this?
Skyday came much later. I didn't know of Skyday until, man, until I had
12,
left the
13.
business and then came back. So that would have been like the DJZ years. I finally met him, but back then it was Discovery and it was the Escobedo brothers, who are not too known, but they're known enough within the Lucha Libre world. It was Rudy and Martin. Yeah, they were the guys that kind of taught me everything that I know to this day. And then even in my seminars, present day, I use what I saw as a young child trying to be a luchador in my seminars for the guys, for the guys and gals that show up for the seminars.
Incredible. So then I'll blow through most of this right now because we were going to talk about Sky Day, but you know what? I'll touch on it just for a second because, again, you were saying this was years later. Any Chikara fans, I would say thanks Sky Day. He was one of the key trainers at the Wrestle Factory. And I know, B, you were just kind of interested in hearing something from Gringo about that. I was wondering, Gringo, if you had any stories or anything you'd like to share about that Chikara era.
Yeah, so when I discovered Chikara, I couldn't believe how innovative some of the stuff was, or all of the stuff. It was stuff that I had never seen before or even thought of. So I seeked them out. I was very young, and I used MapQuest directions on paper to get to one of their shows. And I went up with Mini Charlie Manson, the guy that I would wrestle with all the time, and that's where we met Lindsay, Ophidian, and a lot of those guys that were like really, really good. And we had they let us in the ring, I guess, whatever, like we asked, and they were like, yeah, man, come in and roll around or whatever. That was when I realized that there was more people like me and Charlie Manson who were trying to get better and innovate and do different stuff, because it was 2 hours of some of the most memorable stuff that I've ever seen or tried with people in the ring, rolling around. I've known Lindsay for 16 years now. He was there. I bet you he would remember this session that we had, because it was so innovative and such a happy couple of hours, because it was two groups gelling together and just trying to be innovative before the show started. I wasn't even on the show, neither was Charlie Manson, but they invited us into the Chikara ring. I think this was in like Streamwood or something. And I'm forever going to remember that, because that was when I realized that there's more people like me out there just trying to do different stuff and trying to be innovative.
Unbelievable. And I touched on it earlier here. You have a touch of Ultimo Dragon lineage coming through your training through Sky Day. Do you feel that there was anything that was passed on to you?
Yeah, so Sky Day is a really special teacher, because he can get a line of vets that have been in for 20 plus years. It was me, Ali, DJZ one night, and we're in the line, we're doing rolls, but then he'll do these sequences that will pop all of us at the same time, because it's something that we've never seen before. And the guy has like a million of those things up his sleeve. The guy is incredible. He's one of my favorite teachers I've ever had, probably the favorite. He's innovative in a different style, with the holds and the way to get into things and sequences. But I can't say enough good things about Sky Day, man. He is absolutely the man.
And then how hard was it to break into lucha wrestling as an outsider, in the way that how much static do you feel like you saw face to face versus maybe behind the scenes? I wanted to go that route. Did you feel most people were pretty helpful? Every now and then there was an ask, kind of like any other place?
Yeah. So like, I graduated high school, got that little training in the lucha, found out that the best lucha libre is in Mexico City. Once I got out of high school, I went straight to Mexico City, gathered up all my delivery money from various jobs, and went to go train at CMLL. And that was an incredible experience. I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't speak the language. I just knew that, like, wow, I'm in this big arena upstairs in this ring, and the training is really hard. So this is probably where I'm supposed to be. And come to find out, that is like the class that you want to be in. It's like, where everybody trains. Ultimo Guerrero was there. Virus was there. The original Mystico was there. This is all stuff that I realized after the fact, but yeah, really tough training. Honestly, like probably some of my best days. This is where I like kind of formed my base. Like they would yell at you if you dropped somebody, that would be on you. That's why I'm always, preaching that, don't drop your people on a dive, don't drop your people on a move, because I got chastised years ago, so why shouldn't you be? You know what I mean? And it made me who I am today. Like I would never let that happen because of those experiences. So, yeah, I mean, we did that for a little bit. The delivery money ran out. I would go back and forth to Mexico for a couple of years. Eventually, got into Naucalpan, which is in the Mexico state, Estado de Mexico. And that door finally opened to where I could, kind of get my groove and kind of feel myself out. Bushi from New Japan was there. A couple different guys would come in and
Wow.
out. Wagner, I met all the legends like Wagner and Park and all that, and became cordial with those guys. And years later, they remember me, and it all just kind of gels together as the route kind of makes itself throughout this crazy wrestling life. But where I really made my name, I would say, in Mexico would be Nocalpan. They gave me a trio called the Gringos VIP, which was very cool. That chapter was a whole year of me not even coming back to the States. And they gave us the trios titles. We were super over as a heel faction. Like, that was a really fun time. But yeah, man, I mean, everything has bled right into the next chapter in my career. So I'm very blessed in that aspect.
Real fast, while you brought up that's where you worked as a heel. What do you prefer working as, a heel or a face? Because personally, I think you're all the best work I've seen from you as a heel.
Interesting. So I really like being a heel. Don't tell all my fans that, because I also like getting the Gringo Loco chance. But naturally, I would say that I am a heel. It just comes a lot easier than me trying to be the flashy guy doing the flips. But over time, I got kind of good at the flippy stuff, and I was like, all right, let me just see where this goes. And it's kind of working out, the concept. But yeah, I would have to be. I mean, when AAA gave me the ball to run with the mic and everything, working as a heel, I was definitely having a lot of fun. I could tell you that.
Well, we're going through how things kind of run together here, and everyone starts somewhere in wrestling. You first wrestled as Time Page.
Oh,
Could you tell us about the origins of that name a little bit and how it flowed into your current character?
Oh, of course, absolutely. So Time Page was a 16-year-old kid trying to come up with a name. And I thought, if you turn the page of time and you spell it weird, then that's a cool concept. There really isn't anything more to it than that. So I spelled it Tymapaige, thought it was cool, wrote it in some cool graphics. And I said, this is going to be my name. Well, that was very short lived, because when I got to the Lucha Libre gym that I mentioned earlier, the the first poster I ever made with my picture and everything was a big day. It said Time Page, and under it said Gringo Loco. But again, I don't speak Spanish, so I went up to my teacher and I was like, "Yo, what does this mean? Like, are you guys making fun of me, or like what's happening?" They were like, "No. You remind us of this guy Art Barr. You have the same style, you have the same hair and kind of look that he had, and that's all it is. Like, whatever." So the name was actually given to me at my first Lucha Libre school in Chicago. So it's been with me since the first couple of weeks, and officially in the wrestling business. And
yeah, Gringo, you debuted February 10th, 2008. That was your first show as Gringo Loco.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, Time Page must have had a long stint, because I have a VHS of me coming out in breakaway Adidas pants with the red lines and like a Hardy Boy T-shirt. That's 2002. So,
oh damn, I've been
June
wrong
8th,
before.
June 8th, 2002. Actually, what's funny? I was with Dave Prazak, and he just has ways of finding all kinds of stuff and dig deep, and he knows all the people. He actually found really old school pictures of me on that first match. This is fairly recently too. And he has pictures of me in that outfit, and they are incredible. It's something to see, I can tell you. Yeah.
Prazak, hit me up. I got $20. You can post some public pictures here. Do you have any moves named after or inspired by wrestlers?
Oh man, not named after. No, I kind of went my own route on that with like the bass drop and the switch salt and all that. But obviously they were inspired by stuff that I've seen throughout the years, of course.
Your entrance song, is there any meaning behind it?
No meaning. So I'm just a big fan of bass wrestling. I'm sorry, bass music, bass wrestling. I just like really good bass tones that are, long, and I don't know, man. Going back to when I was a young child, man, I had like Little John and the East Side Boys in like the cheapest cassette player that you've ever seen. And I would walk to school, and I just became addicted to bass music. So that's really what it is.
It does create a vibe, though. And every time you hear the music, it does create a vibe. Especially, I would say in LA, when you're right there by the entrance, it's a vibe for sure.
It's a ride.
Yeah, I mean,
like when you do this, you feel like you're driving.
So when you you feel like it,
Yeah, like
Like a
swerves
drive
when he
like that.
drives.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
yeah,
He does.
honestly, and then some of these venues, that GCW has been booking recently, they're like concert venues, so the audio is fantastic. And again, going back to Prazak, he sent me a video of his glass of water in a plastic cup when I came out, and it was trembling like when the T Rex in Jurassic Park appears, just like that. It was like the real bass god.
Nice.
Yeah.
Going back to someone just earlier, a fan asked about when we're talking about moves here. Is there any move or moves that you think that you actually created yourself?
Yeah, so the bass bomb, I would say that I did create. Now, I did get it. Somebody used to do the bass bomb, and they would spin it and just jump backwards into the ring. But I saw that the neck would always whip, so
Mm.
I twist now, and then I also twist to kind of take care of my neck and everything else. So I've never seen it done like that before. Let me see. Everything else is kind of based on stuff that I've seen are kind of maybe ripped off of some people, but not a lot of people are doing some of the stuff I'm doing now, thank God. But I'm sure they're on their way, man. These young cats are going after everything. So
I made a mention just recently, and I think I make a mention every podcast. Like, you innovate your moveset week in and week out, and it's just like I think that just is so refreshing to see. You keep on adding and creating new stuff, and that just gets the excitement every time your matches come up. I believe that helps out for sure.
yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you noticing. It's just a question of digging, researching, using your noggin, and thinking, hey, I think the fans would probably like this.
Though, to your credit, at your age as a veteran, you still are creating, because we do ask this same question sometimes of the younger guys, like, hey, what's in the pipeline? Are you working on something now? Sometimes we hear, no, I'm really not.
Mhm.
To hear that between the ages of 24 and 32 is kind of hard to hear as a performer. You know what I mean? So
100%. And I think it's plaguing the wrestling business. It's very cookie cutter. Hey, what's some of the stuff that you do? And I'm getting a lot of these same answers recently that like, yeah, I got nothing, man. Like whatever you think. And it's just like, my opinion on wrestling, I could talk about this forever, but like you should come to the table ready to eat. That's all I'll say. You got to come with some kind of substance. Otherwise, why are you getting on a plane and coming to a show if you have nothing to essentially offer? So that might be controversial to say, man, but it is what it is.
no,
Like,
no,
this
no.
is a business. This is a dance. You're supposed to, tit for tat, give and take. So it is a little frustrating when you hear that, but you can't win them all.
Well, no, it's just, I mean, if they're flying you across the continent for dinner, you better not be bringing green beans. You know what I mean? So you better be bringing something special if all that time is going to be put into that.
Yeah, see, you understand what I'm saying, of course.
Absolutely. Now we move into GCW. How did you find GCW, or vice versa?
Right, I was going to say GCW found me. So left the business for a little bit after Mexico. Was a little bitter that nothing happened. Did the no Calpon thing. That was cool. Wasn't cool enough for me to stay in. Left for 2 years. Came back. DJZ connected me to AIW in Cleveland. That went really well. He would bring in guys that were really good to work with, like Laredo Kid and all kinds of just amazing talent. And that, essentially made me better as a wrestler. I ended up getting some titles there. So my fire was lit again for wrestling. So I would do Chicago, Cleveland. Sometimes I would do Oscar Martinez in Texas. But that was all that I had, if I'm being honest. I didn't have much else. But I had the passion and I had the spirit, and I wanted something to really happen in the States. So kept doing that. And lo and behold, I had one of my best matches. I think it was one of those crazy lucha 6-mans or something. And Brett Lauderdale shows up. I'd never seen this guy before. And he's like, yo, I need you on spring break. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but where is it? And he says, it's in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I said, oh, okay. Right away. Like, I liked wrestling, but I knew that I wasn't going to drive to Louisiana and back for wrestling, because that's insane, for especially what potentially I would be getting as a payday, because I was nobody. So I was like, yeah, for sure, man, I'll do it. So left, didn't think anything of it, wasn't going to do the show. And somebody who did know how important this date was rest in peace, Marcus Crane. And we had gotten a little close, and he was like, dude, you have to do spring break. I don't know what you're thinking. I was like, bro, I'm definitely not going to do that, because it's so far away. Never been to New Orleans. My car probably won't even make it at the time. He's like, listen, man, you need to do this. This could be your moment. And I was like, all right, you convinced me. I'll fly myself down. We'll see what happens. Okay. And, that was the second spring break, I believe, 2018. And that was the unannounced six man. I was shitting bricks behind the stage, bro. Just like, this is so scary. Nobody's going to know me. I got these incredible athletes around me, DJ Z, Tony Deppen, and I have to go out there and do what I do. Very, very high pressure situation. And I think we knocked it out of the park that night. Had it not been for Marcus Crane, I don't know if Gringo Loco would be where he is today.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you ended up going another 6 shows that year. So it was just pop, 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 pop. As soon as they could bring you back, it was boom, boom, because GCW wasn't going every weekend like it is now.
That's right.
So yeah, it looked like, yeah, you became an instant favorite. That was obvious. Just, luckily Brett listens to the fans, because yeah, you would have been one hell of a loss if we didn't have you over here. Some listeners may be new to you. Do you have maybe 3 matches or a couple matches that you're most proud of? You maybe should just say, hey, we should check this out if you want to see me.
In general, GCW, or just
in
wherever?
General would be fine. Yeah, we really want to know you. So if there's, you know what I mean? A lot of us have the internet. We can dial you up. Boom, boom, check you out.
Yeah, so there's a couple crazy ones in AIW. I don't remember the names of them, but it was like, DJ Z, Laredo Kid, Steve Payne, Gringo, probably To Infinity and Beyond. Those guys were in there. Some of those are incredibly just innovative. And, it was really 6 people just going after it and giving Cleveland everything that we had. One that would be, I do remember the name. It was Absolution. We opened the show because Matt Cross had to go to the Gathering of the Juggalos. So it's the biggest show of the year. It's completely sold out. We were supposed to be like semi-main, but he had to leave. So just imagine how hot this crowd was, man. And we went out there, and it was one of the most memorable matches I've ever had. I think that's where I probably got Brett's attention with that match, to be honest with you. Went out there and absolutely annihilated it. That would be one. And then obviously the Hammerstein match is super special to me. The Amazing Red match is super special to me. There was a really good one in GCW, another 6-man. I guess I'm a king of the 6-mans. A 3-on-3, a trios match in Houston that I remember that was fantastic. That was with Dragon Kid, Flamita, a bunch of other people. That one just kind of flowed really well. When you get to the back and it's super euphoric, I'm just thinking of those types of matches. But God, there's been a lot recently. My match that I had at my show Cinco de Mayo last year, or was that this year? I guess that would be this year. That was so much fun. Jack Cartwheel, so talented. Obviously, Ares, one of my favorites. Aramis, we know where he's at now. He's just an incredible talent. There's just so many that have been happening, and they just keep going and going and going. And I'm just like, I wonder how I'm going to top this. And it just keeps on happening. So.
You've been blessed with being able to bring the best out of even the youngest wrestlers. And I know quite a few who aren't able to do that. So I just want to say too, we have seen you've been paired in some cities with some of these younger tag teams and really pulled a hell of a lot out of them. And it's funny that it's just laying dormant there the whole time, but sometimes it just takes someone who really, has done it longer to go, oh, I know what this guy does. Let me go ahead and make him hit those ropes just a half a second quicker. And then all of a sudden, everything else is coming out just a little bit quicker. And maybe that's the speed he needed to operate with the whole time. So yeah,
right,
great job.
Right. And if I could do that for any wrestler, what a sense of pride, man. Like you ask any wrestler that I've wrestled, I think probably 75% would definitely say that's the guy that took me out of my comfort zone, and I would not have done half the stuff had it not been for him. And that's a sense of pride, man. Like if I'm able to do that and I'm able to have you try stuff knowing that I can take care of the situation, then why not? What a gift to be chosen to trust a person like that and without really knowing them, and that's what I thrive on.
I was going to say, this is the part where we're in GCW. I actually wanted to sit back because I know B had a couple really good GCW related questions and I didn't want to stomp on them. So I'm going to kind of let you, I saw your notes on there and I wanted to make sure he got his in because he has a couple really good questions for you.
I don't know about good, but good in my eyes. Going back to the Amazing Red match, can you go through what was going through your mind like those couple
Oh
days with
man.
all the opponent changes and everything? Like I know I talked about it on the podcast. Like that's if I said I think I even said like if I ever got to sit down with you, I want to know what was going through your mind because you had like dream match after dream match after dream match kind of happening and big matches just falling through. And we know it's wrestling, but what was going on in your mind that those last couple days?
Yeah, so Volador gets announced. I'm like, this is incredible. This is going to be awesome. This is a dream come true. I had worked him before, and it went extremely well. He was kind of injured at the time, so probably could have been a little better. But I definitely wasn't the wrestler then that I am now. Then he falls through. V's a problem. Then Dralistico gets announced. I'm like, okay, yeah, man, that'll be sick enough. Okay, I'm cool with it. That falls through. And then Amazing Red gets announced, and he didn't tell me that it was confirmed or anything before the week, going into Mania weekend. So I had no idea. So I found out when the graphic was posted. Yeah, so the nerve started the second I saw the graphic. I'm like, dude, this guy probably doesn't have any clue like what this match is going to mean to me. That I, was 15 years old with a VHS tape in my VCR watching him in SAT. It happened to be when I was in Philly and I was talking to him and just kind of feeling him out. I did remember that I had the VCR still with the tape inside. I had somebody take a picture of it to show him what tape it was. It was his, it was the best of SAT and Amazing Red to show him like what this means to me, like the match. And this guy pulls out the blue jumpsuit or the black jumpsuit, whatever it is, like what he used to wear when he was younger, right? And I gotta tell you, man, it was pretty emotional. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had to go to a couple corners, leading up to the match just to, kind of get myself together and say, he understands what's happening right now with me. And if anybody was back there, which I tried to stay away from a lot of people just to get my head clear, I don't think I've ever paced more before a match in my entire career. It was just so many emotions, just so many things going through my mind. I wanted everything to go well, and it did, thankfully. But just dream come true, man. Dream match, and then the actual dream match happened. So it just goes to show you that, like, I don't know, they were trying to showcase myself during Mania weekend in a special light, and that's got to be called a blessing, I think, at that point, right?
Yeah, it kind of seems like you were there to spotlight the other two, but then like those fell through, and like this match was Amazing Red's here to spotlight you and your come up. And that was that was an awesome match and cool to see. And I think that kind of brings up a theme, kind of like what I see with you is you thrive in adversity because I could be wrong here. The Psycho Clown match, isn't that like, didn't you have like ring gear problems and like airline problems and stuff going into that match as well, or no?
Dude, so
Like, I feel like that
like
was like your most memorable
right.
match, in my opinion, in GCW. Like, that's just another set of adversity you had to go through, and that just brought out the best of you, in my opinion.
Dude, how much time we got? Because that story is unbelievable, bro. So it's in the colder months. I don't remember when, but it's like super cold in Chicago. The connection doesn't connect. So now I'm stuck in Dallas and I have to get to Houston. It was a Houston Dallas loop, but I'm in the wrong city. And they made me check my bag. So my bag is going to stay on that plane that's not connecting to the next city. So I'm not going to have anything with me. So I get in a vehicle. They ended up giving me a Mustang rear-wheel drive during an ice storm in Texas. Okay, if you want to start with that, that's unbelievably terrible.
Death sentence.
It's a death sentence. So that's all they had left because everybody had rented everything else. So I drive all the way to Houston, right? That's the first day. So I drive from Dallas to Houston, have that match. It's super cold in that arena. Don't get me started on the Premier Arena because it's not going to be good. And then have that match. And then that next day, still no. I mean, I went back and forth. I waited 7 hours for this bag before I left Dallas to get to Houston. I waited 7 hours thinking and believing what the people were telling me that, yeah, your bag is going to, we called the person, they're going to bring it up. Never happened, right? So I have all of this anger and all of this. I'm all charged up for that Psycho Clown match, right? So I find some gear. Somebody gives me some stuff. It doesn't look terrible. It looks kind of like I'm going on for a street fight, which is Not what
That's what
I
I was
thought I
about
was.
to say. It was perfect for the match that happened. I think the
Yeah.
ring gear, and your attitude was played out perfectly. How it all came across.
Honestly, it was really stars aligned because it was red gear, black kick pads, a GCW cutoff shirt, and long hair. Yeah, I mean, it's not my usual look, but I was like, this is what we have, and I'm gonna give you guys everything that I absolutely can because of everything that I've been through. So we show up, I see the big field goal over there, and I'm like, somebody in this roster is gonna jump off of that. Why would I even attempt to do this, right? I go around, I ask, everybody's saying no. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do something crazy today because charged up and I'm just over everything that I've been through. I still don't have any gear. Let's go. Right. So the scariest part about that spot was not the actual dive itself. I could do that dive all day, 7 days a week. It was that short walk that I had to balance beam with nothing else holding up to be able to hold on to get the stuff that was behind it to get to the field goal post. Brother, when I tell you it was a do or die, it was a do or die moment because if you fall, everybody is going to say this is what this guy sucks. Like, how did he do this? How funny is he? And like, I know that it's over, and I'm like blown up probably, and I'm just over everything. I'm just like, I have to get to this field goal. Didn't even go up there before the show to test it to see if it would like hold my weight or anything. So if you look, I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. If you look, when I get to it, I kind of do a little celebration. I'm like, I made it. You got to look at the video back. It's like, I made it. And now I'm looking down. I'm like, I have to do this now. Well, I mean, we're here. I'm so mad. I'm so just over everything. Let's go. I screamed GC fucking W at the top of my lungs, bro. And I let everything fly. And I honestly think that was my official welcome into GCW. And it really felt like it. That's when everything took a turn. I remember Joey Janela saying afterwards, he was like, welcome to GCW. It was just very incredible. John Carlo was in the back, and I got that cool little vignette that was instantly put up with like a bloody face. And I mean, it was really a surreal moment, man. And all the buzz that it got the days afterwards was really cool too. All the angles that came out. And, I owe Psycho Clown a lot for that, man, because, he didn't have to be as giving that evening, and he was. So, thank you for that turning point, Mr. Psycho Clown.
Yeah, that made like a really cool shirt too. When you sold that shirt of your bloody face, I bought that immediately. That made cool merch, and like I get what you're saying. Like, I don't think that was your come out party to GCW. I think you already made it. I think that was what took you to the next level. Like I talk about those kind of moments. I think like Zilla had one of those moments like in LA, and like you just have those moments where you think like you just, as you said, Joey's telling you made it. The fans, I think we saw that different side of Gringo that just ingratiate you to the fans in GCW. And like I wanted to disagree. I don't think that was a night like you made it. I think you made it beforehand, but I think that was a night you elevated it to the next level, in my opinion. That was like I said, you just, and it seems like when you do better when you have to face adversity, and that's why I think I like the heel Gringo there, because you just come out, gotta cause hell there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it was a special night for sure.
Awesome. I had a question, but someone else had a fan too. This year, we haven't really heard much of it yet, but could we expect the return of World on Lucha at the Collective this year in Vegas?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, man. It's always a possibility, but there's so many companies clamoring to get on that schedule because of how well it does every year. We just have to wait and see who's on the list. And always, I mean, if it's not on the Collective, there is always a chance that there could be a standalone in the future afterwards, like we did this past year. So, like I said, we just have to wait and see. There's so much commotion, and everybody's in town and trying to nail people down for this schedule, that schedule. This guy's got to leave. They got to leave early. They got to leave late. It is a lot of chaos. I actually really enjoyed the Cinco de Mayo show because all of that was eliminated. We have our people, we have our matches. Let's have a great lucha show. People thoroughly enjoyed it in Jersey City, and I definitely prefer it that way. But I do understand the want for World on Lucha at the Collective, so we'll do everything that we can to get it on the schedule this year.
I was going to ask you about Lucha. I'm so sorry, buddy. I was just going to ask you real quick, how far out are you booking those? I mean, is this months, or is this something where you're doing it? Okay, here's who we have in the back, or here's who we have that I just talked to a week ago. I found out he's in town. How far out are you booking that?
Yeah, so it's gone both ways. So like obviously everybody's going to be in town for Vegas, for wherever Mania is, right? But for the Cinco de Mayo show, it was a lot easier. That was definitely months in advance, trying to nail these guys down. Hey, I have a show. Can you do this for me? That goes with a lot more planning. But again, if I am going to be on that schedule, I will start reaching out months in advance to make sure that I have my people for that time slot, whatever time slot that might be, just so there's no conflict of interest with anybody else.
So I kind of had one last kind of like an all-encompassing question with what it's in your words, how important it is that the lucha is represented and how it's represented in GCW differently in other companies, and you running the world on lucha shows. What does that mean for you to bring in like the new names and the old names and established names? Like, what does that mean to you to kind of have the lucha representation in GCW in your vision? Because it kind of seems like we're seeing it through your vision, which is awesome and amazing, but not through you, but like the talent that kind of works with you. And it seems that you bring in is kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it means literally everything. My career has built to those moments. I've lived Lucha Libre since the beginning, since I was a child. And, I know who's who and what's what. I know who the up and comers are. I know who's ready. I know who's worked for us in the past and has killed it. I know the legends. I know pretty much everybody that should be on, will be on at some point. And to be showcased properly, right? So you don't want to have, two pairings that are not going to be the greatest match. And that's where I come in to kind of fix that and say, look, man, A and B have to go here, C and D have to go here. So that's really where my mentality is of like, what's the best showcase of Lucha Libre that we can do this evening? It's working. I've been around a long time, so that's my niche really, to pair these people properly and get the names that would draw and sell tickets. So it's just one of those things that I've dedicated my life to, and to be showcased properly is really my main goal in wrestling, to showcase authentic Lucha Libre properly on a giant platform.
You're getting there. I have a feeling you're getting there. I think when you're gone, we'll be able to say that you did everything you could to cross those lines and bring Lucha to GCW. And I don't know who else is doing it better. And that's, I think, why we had so much questions about the Lucha show, is because I feel like it's a taste tester for what we're about to see in GCW in the next year. And I feel like the three things that I feel like GCW should bring back more in 2025 to kind of bring that vibe back is more scrambles, more lucha, more death match. And I know two of those tend to be your specialty. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there too. Is just, it looks like a taste tester on what's to come. And it's just like everyone you've brought in has seen some form of marked success. And they come across fantastic with all fans, each and every one of them. LA especially, man, bringing lucha to LA, just that's the culture. They love it there. I love sitting there just listening to everyone. Dude, they bring up all the Spanish chants that I'm trying to figure out still. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking awesome. So I just wanted to say that I feel that's one of the three key essential parts to GCW running at full capacity, or running at full gear.
Yeah, absolutely. LA, let me just give my love out to Los Angeles as a lucha town, man. It is probably the best out there. They are very appreciative when we do it correctly out there for Lucha Libre.
And it's very noticeable sometimes when there's not one of those like Gringo Loco lucha matches on the LA. Sometimes it does stick out. It's like this match, this card was really missing that, and the crowd was really looking forward to it. So it is noticeable sometimes when it hasn't happened some of the time. Most of the time you are on those LA shows and always have the lucha representation on them. Someone was going to ask the same question I was going to ask when you said you kind of know all the old names and new names. Is there one name that one or more names he asked that haven't worked in the US or for GCW yet, but have it?
Oh, dude, there's so many up and comers that are incredible. They're just waiting. They're like in a holding pattern, waiting to be called up. One of those guys, two of those guys were showcased in LA, man. Epidemius Jr. and the Mexa Boy, Spiderfly. Man, like this kid is only 18 years old, bro, and he's been wrestling God knows how long. You know, some of his videos came out a couple years ago. Some of the most innovative stuff that we've ever seen, and for him to be as young as he was at the time, just didn't make any sense. Granted, he had three incredible bases to work with, but still, like some of the ideas he was able to pull off flawlessly. I've known about Spiderfly for a long time, and to be able to recommend him, get him booked, and then have it against me and Ares is really a long time coming and a dream come true. That kid has it. Epidemius Jr. as well, but Mexa, one of the original Mexa boys, Spiderfly, incredible talent. I think we've just seen the tip of the iceberg with him. He is going to be something special.
Brant, I think you had some other questions about GCW, or did we kind of clean those out? I wanted to make sure we got you in there. I didn't want to move on and miss anything.
No, the one other question, but I guess, I mean, he doesn't really have to go. Like, what's one in your opinion right now as GCW heads into kind of the restoring the feeling and into Hammerstein and Collective? What do you think GCW can improve on to take the next steps going into Collective weekend?
I think overall GCW is doing great. They're doing exactly what they need to do, man. They're selling tickets in all these cities. I mean, just take a look at the schedule. Like he's going after it left and right, all around the United States, Japan. It's just incredible. There isn't really anybody else out there like Brett Lauderdale, bro. He is somebody that goes after what he wants. He wants to be very successful, and from that we get a lot more work from it. So to say what he could be to be improved on, I mean, God. I don't really think anything, bro. It's just one of those things that, you can learn a lot from Brett Lauderdale being close to him. He's a go-getter, and he's one of those guys that if you pay attention, there's so many things that you can learn, bro. GCW, I think, is doing just fine the way it is.
Excellent. I'm going to ask you this one. What's the telephone move you got going on here? What's this?
Yeah. So I started doing that a couple months ago, man, and it really just came organically to me. I did something in the ring, and everybody kind of went crazy or whatever. And I'm just like, I looked right at this like mom or grandma, looked right into her face and looked into her eyes, and I did this. So like essentially what it is, it's like, you better get on the phone and call your parents because you just saw Gringo Loco do a crazy fucking move.
Oh,
That's
like
all
that.
it is, man. You better get on the phone and call your family because Gringo Loco just did it again.
All right, I'm going to pop you off here. Favorite match off the top of your head? Favorite match anywhere
of all time, or was that I've seen,
yes,
or?
Yes, sir. You
Man.
have been in. You go. You know what? This is me. Just off the top of your head, because I know it's a lot of thought with 700, almost 1,000 matches under your belt.
And favorite match of all time, bro. Got to be the Hammerstein match, right? Yeah.
All right.
Probably.
All right, yeah. I was going to say favorite venue. What's your thoughts there?
It's I've been asked this. It's got to be Chicago Talia Hall or UCCLA. Has to be, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so I got to chime in here just so I can know if I'm correct in saying this or not, because I always say this. You've been to Talia Hall and Hammerstein. Is Talia Hall like a little mini Hammerstein, kind of like how the stage is set up and how they present it on TV, or am I completely off base here?
Oh man, it's definitely smaller. Hammerstein is such this big monster of a venue with 3 balconies and the beautiful ceiling. I think Talia Hall is a little more older, more historic, more of a landmark in Chicago, but they both have different amazing qualities about themselves. I'll say that.
Hit you with the next one. The hardest match you've worked and why? Unless we just covered it with Psycho.
Well, okay. The hardest match was definitely the second Psycho Clown at the World on Lucha in LA. I was losing a little too much blood in that match, and I kind of lost it in terms of paranoia and what was actually going on. Wanted to get out of there as fast as I could because I didn't know how serious the cut was. But in terms of tough and just trying to figure it out, definitely the Psycho Clown match in LA.
And what about the biggest holy shit moment for you? You've had some crazy shit go down.
Holy shit! In terms of something I did or they did, or just in general.
Whatever. You know what? I want to know about you. I want to go, you know what? This was the one where boom, in my highlight reel, this one's going to stick.
It's kind of offhand. The thing that jumps out at me the most is it was the first time I got a couple million views on the clip. It was I don't think it was the first time. It was in Atlanta. It was me and Ninja Mac, and I had this idea that I wanted to do where I would be facing away towards the post, and he's facing towards me, and then he jumps into a power bomb. I catch him in the power bomb on the top, and then spin through a table. I remember in the moment saying, "Damn, that was literally perfect. Holy shit, that was awesome." And the table had like splintered into a million pieces, and that part of it was perfect too. The crowd couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Mac was probably dying, but yeah, that was it. That one definitely sticks out to where I was like, "Damn, holy shit, that was awesome."
I think that
Do you have
catch
any,
that you did on Cartwheel, when Cartwheel flipped out and you're on the outside, like that Montreal, you had like no space there to like.
You know what, dude?
Just plant yourself and catch him as all that momentum landed on you.
That is a really good answer. That is and I got, you know what? Let's just shout out Speedball, man. That was his idea. And he first said it. I was like, "You're out of your mind. That would never happen." And then it did happen, and it was flawless. Yeah, like inches away. If it goes awry, backwards, frontwards, whatever. If he sits on my head and it, compresses the vertebrae, so many things could go wrong, and they didn't go wrong, which is incredible. So, yeah, that is definitely up there too. That's a really good answer, man. I forgot about that. That was in Toronto.
Do you have any nagging injuries?
Close.
So somebody asked me that recently too. Not anything serious. My entire 22-year career, I've never had any broken bones. Knock on wood, real quick. And I'm just always sore. I'm old, and I just need to sleep more. But other than that, man, it's always just a nagging soreness, pain all the time.
I've noticed so many wrestlers just can't get deep sleep. It's consistent short rest, naps, and you can't sleep in one spot for too long or you're going to wake up sore. And yeah.
That happened to me recently. I felt like I cracked a rib because I slept wrong. It was terrible.
Oh, shit. You're talking to a guy. I'm 44. So you've aged well beyond with the wrestling years. That's,
oh, man. Let's not even talk about that. We'll all get depressed.
On August 30th, 2023, you made your AEW Rampage debut. You were teaming up with Kip Sabian. You were in the ring against Vikingo and Nick Wayne. What was going through your head looking across the ring at those two?
So special, man. Nick Wayne, Vikingo. Let me tell you a little bit of backstory on that because it is crazy. My life is a movie, and I wish I could record it sometimes, but I didn't know I was going to be booked on Rampage. Call time's super early, right? I got no phone call that day. So I'm like, okay, they decided to pass this time. No big deal. I'm sitting on my couch at 6:30 p.m. My phone starts blowing up. It's all of the guys that contact me to work for AEW. And they said, "Can you get here?" And I looked at it was rush hour. So I said, yeah, I can be there in an hour and 7 minutes. Would that work for you? They were like, yeah, it's going to be Rampage after Dynamite. Just, kind of hurry up. And I'm like, all right. Didn't know the match coming into the arena. Drive all the way out to the Now Arena. And they told me it's going to be you and Kip. I'm like, all right, hell yeah. No, he's your partner. And you're going to be facing Nick Wayne and Vikingo. I was like, dude, the homies, what? And they were like, you have to get dressed right now because you're going to be out in 20 minutes. And I'm like, dude, nobody's going to believe this is happening to me. Yeah, so I get dressed, 20 minutes, go out to the Chicago crowd. I'm looking at Nick, I'm looking at Vikingo, my first actual TV match. Such a magical air. I can't even describe it. It was just surreal. Me and Vikingo had been very familiar with each other at that point, so no nerves there. Nick Wayne, obviously one of the best to do it. So young, such a veteran in his own right. And, it was just incredible. Kip, I had never wrestled with him at all, and he was such a gem. He was like, I want you to be seen. You do your stuff. I'll do whatever else is left. Such a magical moment. One that I'll never forget. That and the United Center debut for Collision 2 against Willie Mack. That one was a very special one, too.
Also, yeah, you have an AEW Collision debut. I think it was July 20th, 2024, against an also debuting Hologram.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk. You're in the ring looking at each other. That's a good man wrestling in another country. Yes. How nervous are both of you?
Okay, I will go on record and say I wasn't as nervous as you might think. I looked at him in that outfit, and I looked at me in my outfit, and I said, "So this is what it's all been building towards with me and you." That's what I said when
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
bell rang. All of those times that we've had so much chemistry together in all of these cities all around the world, this is what it led to. It's your debut as a new character, and it's me helping you look the best that you can on my TV debut on my birthday. This is what it is. And then we went out there and had a 5 minute match, and it was incredible. I did everything I could for him. So on your birthday TV match, a TV debut, essentially, it doesn't get any better than that, man. That was pretty damn special. And I got it on 2 days' notice. That one also was very last minute.
Wow. So then it's just like what? Send over your paperwork. We've got things to do, or was this one of those send over all your information? We'll call you when we have an opportunity. I don't know that workflow. So I was just kind of wondering without too much details. I was just wondering how they.
Oh, yeah. So it's very, hey, can you get to Dallas? We have a really cool idea for you. Yeah. And I was like, sure. And then when he kind of gave me the rundown, I'm like, oh, this is sick. Let's go. I'll do that in any city you want. Just get me down there. Yeah, very memorable, extremely memorable. I can't say enough about Hologram, man. He's one of my favorite people to work by far in my career.
So we're talking about pre-match here. Do you have any superstitions or rituals? And when does the adrenaline hit you?
So my adrenaline will always hit once I hear the three from the match before me hit. That's when it happens. It doesn't happen before. It doesn't happen after that. It's like it's go 1, 2, 3. It's go time. You got about 5 minutes for those guys to get back here. Somebody's music is going to play, and then you're out. Adrenaline. In terms of rituals, man, what do I do? I'm not a stretcher. I know that a lot of people will look down on that. I've never stretched really before my matches. Not like some people do.
Yeah.
Rituals is just like getting all these pieces of gear on, man. It's 13 pieces per outfit, if you can imagine. So it's just a big mental puzzle of like, where is this piece? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to go out there and look professional. And if one armband is missing, people are going to notice with these 4K cameras they got now. So, rituals is just like I kind of just go away for a little bit and I have to think about everything that I have to do. And then I always look at making a match as like you're creating a road, right? So you start out with the gravel, right? And then you have to like smooth that over with some tar, then some nice asphalt. Then you got to paint the lines and you have to, make sure there's no holes, right? I hope you're following me with this example.
Yes.
And you got to make the perfect road so that we can drive on it to go home. That was sick, right?
Yeah.
That's how I go into every single match. If there's any pothole, I'll go over the match mentally in the back and I'll say, you know what, we got to pave over that. It's not correct yet. So that ritual has been at least 15 years for me, just going over and over and over it and trying to make the perfect road possible.
So you've been elevating a lot of people. It's obvious. Who in the GCW locker room has brought out the most in you, in ring and out of the ring?
Man. So locker room leader for me, man, would be Nick Gage. Him and I had a pretty heart-to-heart talk in Chicago. It was for another company, and we were downstairs, and I was not in the best of mental states of just like where I was in the company and where I wanted to be, and I didn't see that it was possible. And I looked at him, I was like, it's probably just not going to happen for me, man, but I appreciate, you amping me up all the time. And he goes, oh, no, don't say that. You're too good to leave right now where you're at in your career, man. Just stick around a little more. You never know what could happen. And he has always brought up that talk with me. He's like, remember in Chicago, bro, you were done. And I always, I look at him, I hug him, and I say, thank you, Nick. I really do owe you a lot. And, at that point, I was definitely like almost done. And he brought me straight back. And that's really when everything started kind of happening, bigger and badder stuff with GCW and other companies. So I do owe him a lot. He's definitely brought out the best of me, amping me up and really just getting me to the next level.
What about in ring? Would you say he also is the same one in ring, or is there someone else bringing it out in you?
I've never been in ring with Nick Cage, honestly. The person that brings out the best in me in the ring is probably why I'm paired with him all the time is Ares. Ares is another guy who saved my career like 10 years ago, but he always sees a better way for me to do things that'll make myself look better and the team look better that I wouldn't even think about. The guy has such a brilliant mind for the wrestling ring. It's incredible. I don't know anybody else like him. I think he's very unique. He's the king of strange style, obviously, but he's one of the guys that brings out the best of me for sure.
No one else could have made what he's created as a character out there, as lack of a better term. It's just, if it didn't come out of his head, it wouldn't have come out that way at all. It just screams uniqueness. And I think that's what's wonderful about that.
And I think that's why we get along so well. I'm on that same wavelength, but just on a different planet. He's on his with his crazy ideas. I have my little planet with my crazy ideas. And when we mesh, it's a fun experience. I think that's why people are kind of gravitating towards it now.
Arez has been like must for like the last like 2 years for me, like
Yes.
must see TV. He's like just like you, innovative and craziness, but he's just always constantly adding to his game. And every time we see him, like I'm so glad now we get to see him in the tag matches, but now these special single matches, and he gets to showcase what he could do in singles matches. He's been a pleasure to watch, and yeah, I've been loving watching him grow in his time in GCW as well.
So are there any wrestlers on your radar you'd like to wrestle right now? We'll start with in GCW. And if you don't have many, that's fine. We can go outside of GCW.
Yeah, number one on the list is Cardona, for sure.
Smart.
People have asked him on X multiple times, who is somebody that you haven't wrestled in GCW that you like to. His response seems to always be the same, Gringo Loco. So at some point, hopefully in the correct timing will line up that we'll see Gringo Cardona extremely soon somewhere.
Maybe a lucha invasion. You'd be the tip of the spear there, bud.
Hey,
I'm not, you know what I mean? Seriously, a lucha invasion would be absolutely fantastic.
I love the idea. We would take on Deathmatch Royalty. We'd take them down and show them who's boss, honestly.
Strength in numbers, too. You could have a lot of fun there. Living or dead, who's the one wrestler you'd love to sit down with and talk to, and what would that conversation sound like?
Oh, Tajiri comes to mind. I would ask him all about his ECW runs and how enjoyable they were, and what's going through his, kind of like this interview now, like what was go through your head, work with Mikey Whipwreck, and when you would look across from Super Crazy, what the feeling was, when you're at Hammerstein Ballroom, and that's a pressure cooker situation, but those guys are so good. I'm sure they weren't even affected by it. I would just want to get all up into Jerry's head to find out like what was going through his mind during a lot of those pivotal moments. He had some crazy ones with Carino too, man. Like I could ask him a million questions. It would be endless.
I've got one more professional question for you here, and then I was going to shoot just some small personals to kind of end it out here.
Sure.
Is there something about your character that you wish people knew better, or that you would like to set straight after all these years?
Oh man, I just want people to understand like how special Lucha Libre is to me as a person, and that I've never wanted to be portrayed as like a fake luchador or somebody that's trying to be somebody that he isn't, or to try to involve myself in a Lucha Libre life for any other reason other than authenticity. I never wanted to be considered fake or unauthentic ever. So just for people to know that, this really is my life and I'm very passionate about it. And I want now, with the position with me being that I'm in with GCW, I'm able to kind of showcase the best of what this sport can offer. It's a dream come true. It's a blessing. And I'm glad that I was given this opportunity by Brett Lauderdale and GCW to showcase, what I've pretty much dedicated my life to.
P, was there anything else that you wanted to ask there before I get into like just a couple Spitfire?
I had one last question. And what can we expect to see next from Gringo Loco? Like, what do you think is the next goal that you have in GCW?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine, bro. I really thought, 2023 was like where I was like, all right, that was pretty damn sick for a year. Probably not going to top it for 2024. And then all of this cool ass stuff is happening in 2024 that I never would have even dreamed of, man. The red match, Kenta, held championships in Defy, like you said. That I mean, dude, I used to watch Defy and be like, man, this place is so incredible. I hope I get there one day. Then to hold the championship there, uh, you know, I had a show. It was Lost in New York, Joey Janela, or something like that in Belrose. I came out, nobody knew me, very new, and came out to crickets. Okay, so this is a very terrible memory in my career, is what I'm trying to say. So years later, I became a champion in New York at House of Glory, and like what that meant to me as a wrestler, what meant everything really. That I was, chosen to be one of their champions in a city where years prior nobody knew me and nobody gave two shits about Gringo Loco. No matter how innovative he was or whatever, it wasn't something they were willing to see. Now, champion in New York, like that's a very significant part in my career for sure. I'd say that super special in my book, man.
That was a good question. Well, yeah, let's get to some personal stuff here. These are a little quicker for you. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, so I had a pit bull for 14 years. He passed away a couple years ago. And that's where it kind of ended, especially with my schedule now. And I have like a production gig too that's taken a lot of time. Don't have any pets now, but not to say I'm going to rule that out in the future.
Yes. Dogs, cats, birds. What you looking at? Fish?
Definitely dogs. So my current girlfriend is all about cats, and I am finally opening up my mind to potentially getting a cat. I guess they like keep to themselves and they chill. So like, yeah, okay, sure, let's do that then. But we have to find the time and make sure we have enough attention for them first, and then we will cross that bridge when we get to it.
All right. Well, you heard it here. We're gonna hold it against you if she ever asks for one down the road. We're gonna let her know that she's cracking you. There's cracks in this rock.
Right.
Favorite sports and or favorite sports team? Do you have one?
Growing up, I was a big 49ers fan with Steve Young, Jerry Rice. That's showing my age. I go back to like Emmitt Smith and all them, but currently I don't have enough time to keep up with the current product, so I wouldn't be able to say. I love going to the games. I'm a big Blackhawks game goer. I love, I enjoy watching hockey live. I could tell you that. I've been to many Cubs games, many Sox games. But, it's just not for me, man, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I'm just so focused on this wrestling thing for so many years that, like, I look at it as entertainment, and other people are just very passionate. They got the jerseys on. They're cheering for the home runs like crazy. And I'm just like, all right, what else you got? You get a home run. Is there anything else? If I'm being honest, like, that was my legit reaction. I'm just like, all right, man, this is cool. But, like, when is it over? But, yeah, man, I definitely enjoy I definitely enjoy like a good hockey game, though. Those are exciting.
What's your favorite fast food?
Man, dude, I go to Chick-fil-A like all the time, bro.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
bad.
Here's the one where I'm going to dig on you a little here. Do you have a favorite family recipe that you like to eat?
Yeah, dude. So I grew up on rigatoni, if you're familiar with meat sauce. Mom gave me the recipe, and I still make it to this day, man. Rigatoni with meat sauce is definitely something that I pride myself on making very well, and passing it down to the family, man. It's a damn good recipe.
We're going to dig into Little Gringo. What video game did you dominate as a kid?
Dude, No Mercy? Come on, bro. Nobody was able to touch me in that. Resident Evils, bro. I mean, those little puzzles never got me. I don't know if they got you, bro, but I was flying through those games when I was younger, dude.
Puzzles always got me. I always got stuck. I just want to shoot the zombies and that was it.
Yeah, no. Puzzles never got me, dude. Resident Evils were sick, man, and definitely No Mercy for sure.
And what music were you listening to? Pick any age you want to there.
Yeah, so as I was younger, like I said, it was like very, very hood bass music. So Little John the East Side. Little John is still currently known throughout society, right? But he used to have
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
really hood music with it. With look it up, man. Little John and the East Side Boys.
Yep.
And then if you want to even go even deeper, man, like Lil White was a big thing in my life for a long time. He was like a white rapper that was very, very hood. Stuff like that. And then like obviously Bone Thugs and Harmony and stuff like that. Stuff that was on the radio because that's all we had back then. But
Cleveland.
yeah, you know what's up, dude. So
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'm
I
just
had
a
him on
hip hop
tape.
head. A hip hop head in general, and anything with a good bass line. Right now, it's definitely dubstep. Like that's all I listen to. I know it's very close-minded, but like I already tried everything else. Like I tried everything at the buffet. Like give me the dubstep tray. Like just give it all to me. I'm just gonna like chug all the dubstep down, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's just where I'm at in life. So
So you're not in the Chemical Brothers phase anymore, huh?
no,
No.
mas.
Favorite cereal?
I just bought it today from Costco, bro. Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Fuck yeah.
good answer.
Favorite cartoon?
You know, probably the Roadrunner. What was the name of it? You know, where he would kill the coyote? Yeah,
Yeah.
Looney
definitely.
Tunes.
The Looney Tunes.
I mean, and hold on, man. We could definitely say like Beavis and Butthead and Ren and Stimpy too was up there when I was younger, dude. Those were pretty hot.
Dude, they were on the edge of cartoons
Oh yeah.
at that time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here's where we're gonna really expose you. Your favorite celebrity crush as a kid.
Oh shit.
Man, we've
Man,
heard it
Carmen
all.
Electra, bro. Come on, bro. Carmen Electra, dude. Who wasn't into her, bro? Come on,
There
dude.
you go.
Carmen
Quintessential
Electra,
90s
too hot.
too, man. Oh my goodness.
You know, she was on that show. You remember the show Singled Out?
That was an amazing show. Was
Yeah,
that?
dude. They need to bring that in like 2024 version. I bet you would hit.
If it doesn't get canceled, it'd be amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was wanting to do show and tell with you. I always like to do it where if a wrestler would like to bring on something he's proud of, or if there's something that he collects, if there's anything you can think of you'd like to show people, by all means.
Oh my God, dude. So I had this whole thing. I'm just going to do it. I had this whole thing with Masha Slamovich. I was like, man, I have this crazy hobby, but I don't want to tell anybody about it. She's like, dude, what is it? Do you collect like dolls? I was like, no, it's not like that. But we're going to show the world today, man. If she's watching, she's going to be like, oh my God, he's doing it. I got super in to Michaels. Do you know about Michaels?
Are you
the craft store?
Wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do this live. This is a scoop that nobody knows about besides Masha and maybe Scarlett, the referee. Dude, I got super into these Lemax buildings. Do you know about Lemax buildings? Little like village house things.
Okay, hold on. I actually collect the wait, what's the name of them? It's not the Lemax, it's the other ones. It's the oh shit, John. I'll give you an answer in a second. I actually Department 56. I collect Department 56 houses, and I collect Lemax houses. I actually have a Halloween thing going on downstairs right now.
Stop.
And
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. And at Christmas time, I make a whole village, and I'll literally put my camera down on the my telephone camera down, and I'll literally walk through it like I'm actually in the village, dude. I can give you all kinds of tips and hints.
John, I can't deal with what you're telling me because you are making me feel like a normal human right now. I didn't know this existed anywhere else. So I have it right to my right, and I'm going to show you. So nobody has ever seen this. I don't know if you're ready for this,
I'll take a picture of mine later and send it to you.
Look at this, bro.
Oh, hell, see, now that's what's up.
That's nice.
Look at this, bro.
So here's what I'll do.
Ooh, that is cool.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. You've been collecting for at least a year.
Awesome.
Easy.
Wait, let me be completely transparent. This is the mini village. There's a real one in the living room.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hey, what is it, about a tabletop or so, roughly?
Yeah, roughly? So this is a dresser that I specifically bought because it had enough space during Halloween for me to put up more stuff.
No shit. Yeah, I bought squares of fake grass. I bought like 1x1 fake grass squares. I put those down first. Then I take these really small maple leaves, brown, green, and orange, right? And I scatter those all over the ground like it's fall. Then I put all my stuff down.
I love you,
didn't.
John.
Oh,
You
dude,
and I are going to
I wouldn't.
definitely talk about this after the show is over, bro. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. Wow, we were talking about wrestling. This is amazing. Yeah, this is one of those things. Well, I'll tell you later, but yeah, I basically grew up poor. Dad had a train set. I used to play with the train set. He always made little
Dude.
villages and shit, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's kind of why I did it.
Yes.
You know, so I just sit there and pretend. I didn't have much money, man. I'm sitting there with like a Green Army Man or some GI Joes pretending in a neighborhood that was, you know, like Beetlejuice kind of shit. Like you're playing with,
dude. The Beetlejuice Village. I watch that all the time, and I'm just like, damn, I want to make one of those one day.
No shit. See, we've got fighting going on already. Tell him Hobby Lobby's way better than Michael's.
Ooh, never been to Hobby Lobby, dude. So I don't know.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You'd love
I'm
it.
a Lobby person. Like, I like the Hobby Lobby stuff for that kind of like. I don't set them up, but like those things are cool. Like just to see them. Like I always think like, oh, if I had the space, I'd like to do some cool stuff like that. But seeing yours, Gringo, that one looks cool, especially for Halloween. I'm always used to seeing like Christmas themed ones. I've never seen like a different.
John, I don't even want to go into Christmas, bro. There's like minimally 12 buildings that I have for Lemac. I don't even. It's so bad, dude.
I would say when you start to collect to invest, jump over to the Department 56. But I will say for price and for the fact that they use a lot of color and movement, I think Lemax has much better like selection of that. Like if I wanted a Ferris wheel or some shit, like I could get a better one and one that's moving with colors there. Yeah.
Yeah. This is so great that this came up, dude. Yeah, it's incredible. And now everybody knows Gringo Loco collects Lemax buildings. This is great.
You just had to be yourself. You know, you just had to come out and just be yourself.
That's right.
The worst shoot job you've ever had.
Oh man, it was a restaurant called Salad Spinners, and I was on a salad line with 8 other people. And I scooped croutons for 8 hours a day. That's all my job was. I scooped them right in. I couldn't scoop any avocado or anything because that was another dude's job. It was just the croutons for 8 hours, bro. Yeah, terrible.
Oh my goodness. I'd be high as goat balls doing that job. I couldn't possibly have sat there and just let that go.
And it was one of those locations downtown Chicago where it was like the line was never ending. So
it was just constant, like business people just coming in constantly, just getting their lunches.
And they all wanted croutons.
That's motherfucker. My famous question I love to ask everyone: do you have any ghost stories or spooky stories that maybe you've experienced or someone around you has experienced over the years?
So, oh man, I'm still waiting on my time for that. I've been in some spooky situations. I have seen stuff on personal video that I've taken that are a little something was going on there, but in terms of like real life stuff, still waiting, dude. Like I want to go. I've been to that Queen Mary boat. You know about that?
Yep.
No, so I was in there partying or whatever in LA, and I was trying to like conjure up a ghost or whatever, and like nothing happened. I was trying to go to like where people weren't to see if I could get something to happen, but you know, maybe I'm messing around with ghosts, and I don't want any of that smoke, literally. But I don't know. I've never experienced anything like that. So it's hard for me to be anything but a skeptic at this point. You know, I'm a little older and nothing's happened yet. So, and that doesn't mean that I don't believe other people when they tell it. It's just like, do you have any evidence you can show me right now of it? And usually the answer is no. So yeah, I'm waiting.
I always tell people when they come out to Vegas, hit up Zach Baggins' Haunted Museum, because everybody I've taken there before, whatnot, they end up loving it. They've got serial killer stuff in there. They've got all kinds of ghost guy stuff in there. They've got Charles Manson's, all of his artwork and everything else in there. The guy who dressed up as the clown, I can't remember his name, but so everyone was in there. They have all of Ed Gein's stuff, which is the guy who was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy. I didn't believe in some of that stuff because people go, oh, my stomach's hurting, or oh, I have a headache, because you see it on TV all the time. It's pretty easy to get a stomach ache or a headache on camera. I went into the Ed Gein room and I got lightheaded and had to like lay up against the wall until I got out of the room. I'm like, damn. So yeah, that's one. And also Clown just said here, the Whaley House down in San Diego is awesome. And right across the street is like a fish place. So I mean, you could just
Okay.
eat and go right there. Yeah, definitely talk to Vegas locals. We know some cool places. Pinball Hall of Fame's out here. It's pretty cool. So
You know what? Real quick, I do want to mention I stayed at that haunted hotel before it closed in LA years ago. Is it the
Mhm.
Cecily or something? Is that what it's called?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, it's right downtown LA, and it's like one of the most famous ones. I wish I could remember the name, but I definitely stayed there, and I remember being super pissed off because the AC didn't work. Maybe a ghost turned it off, maybe it didn't, but it's super haunted in there. It's actually closed due to like people like killing themselves and jumping out the windows and stuff. So definitely stayed at haunted places before. Just haven't had that experience yet.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
cool. So is that driven by you, or is it whoever you're with that are they big into it, or?
Oh no, I didn't go for that. It was just like the hotel I chose on like Priceline or whatever.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Surprise! You might not sleep
right,
tonight.
right.
Um, a couple small questions here. In your travels, have you fallen in love with any area of the country or the world you'd like to go live?
So I'm a big. It's gonna be hard for people to believe this. I'm a big fan of New York City, bro. A lot of people hate it. They
Yeah.
hate the traffic. They hate like the whole ambiance of it. I just think New York City is for like the go-getters and the people that are into the bustling lifestyle. And I got to tell you, the couple times that I've hung out there recently, I'm just like, man, I think about it all the time. Like, this is more of my vibe. Like, Chicago does not have a bustling aspect, and it never has really. And I'm starting to realize that as I travel more and more. You know, Tokyo has it, New York City has it, LA has it in a few spots, but like Chicago's kind of slow, man. Like it's not there's not a lot going on. We have food, we have great restaurants and stuff, but like New York is a whole different level, man. So
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
that and like LA with the Venice Beach and the Manhattan beaches and stuff like that, with the weather out there, man, it's like there's way better spots than Chicago. But Chicago's always home. It's hard to leave here, you know?
No, I get it. I had a friend who was up north and he's like, I'm going to go live in Florida. I'm like, I kind of like the north. What's going on? He goes, snow's like a waste of 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And then it clicked. I'm like, oh shit, he's actually kind of right there. There's 4 or 5 months out of the year. You're just not really operable to be able to go out and do quite a few things. So
And the seasonal depression will hit before you know it, man. You know, this switch is going to be turned real quick here right around Halloween and it never goes back. It goes from, like today, it was like 80 here incredibly in Chicago.
yeah, yeah.
And you just know, everybody knows. We're looking around at each other. We're like, is this real? But we all know in a couple of days, it's over. Like, it's going to be gray for the next 6 months and it's going to be freezing and we're going to hate it. And every time you get on a plane, they're going to have to defrost it. Everything's late, everything's delayed. It's the worst. It's the worst ever, bro.
If you could master one craft or skill, what would it be?
Oh man, skydiving. I don't know. That came to my mind first. I've had a couple of conversations with people that have had skydiving experience recently. I would love to be like an expert that would have those people strapped in front of me to give that experience to them. It's got to be such a thrill, man, to have somebody jump out of a plane and to trust you to save their life. It's essentially what I'm doing in wrestling now, right? But in a different way of like you're conquering your fear and trusting me that I'll get you to the ground. That's pretty fucking sick.
My next to last question, what would the young you think is the coolest thing about the older you?
Oh my God. Just how, oh, man, how much of a go-getter I've become, just how ambitious I've become that like I never took no for an answer. I think the younger me would look at that and be like, damn, man, he actually did it. Like there's so many times that he could have given up. And he not only didn't give up, but he's still currently going and saying, no, 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 it's not over yet. We're still out here. We're still innovating. We're still wrestling because that was your first passion in life. And I think, yeah, that's what the younger version would say for sure.
I think you're
I
only
love it.
getting more like better with age, and like the more like as you were saying, 23 you thought was a great year, and 24 you got to work at new places, and I think 25 too. Just seeing you continue to grow and go work at all these places everywhere is just amazing to see, and it's just awesome. As you said, like I think that's one thing I would add to there is like you just keep on continuing to improve, and I think your career is just improving as well.
I appreciate that, man.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to mention here, Bright?
No, I think we got a couple of the fans questions. I know Human Tornado said he wants to get one of those jerseys that he saw out in LA from you.
Oh yeah, come on, man, anytime, bro. Absolutely.
It's got that there. Yeah, Clown, Nasty. We had a lot of people come in here. I'm so sorry for the people if we didn't get to a specific question for you. I'm sure down the road we could probably have Gringo come back again. He didn't cry, he didn't bite anyone, he didn't run off. We didn't lose connection. We're doing all right there. The last thing I wanted to say, Gringo, honestly, thank you so much for coming on. The last thing I always like to do is basically just give you the microphone, give you the floor, let you know that you're talking to quite a few people. A lot of wrestlers don't get the opportunity to just grab a microphone and just say and be themselves. I just wanted to give you that time to say whatever you wanted to whomever you wanted to. And yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Go right ahead, brother. It's all yours.
Oh man. Oh, this is a good one. So I want to start out definitely by speaking to all of my fans all across the United States, whether it's WXW in Germany, whether it's Tokyo, whether wherever. I just want you to know how much I appreciate each and every one of you. Every interaction that anyone ever has with me at that merch table will always be 100% genuine. It is my pleasure to perform for you guys every time that I do. Without you guys, Gringo Loco is nothing. So for the continued support, the you know, whether it's the chant or the merch sales or whether it's anything going on in wrestling, if you believed in me, thank you. Like I said, you know, I've dedicated pretty much my entire life until, you know, when it was legally possible to do this is when I started to do it till present day. And I just want you to know how genuine I am as a person. And I genuinely appreciate every single one of you guys. And I will be 100% genuine anytime you interact with me because I do this for you. So, in closing, it's just a thank you to the fans and everybody that's believed in me throughout this entire journey. And again, thank you guys for having me on your wonderful broadcast this evening. And I just hope that, you know, if I'm able to inspire anybody out there that's young or up and coming in any aspect, you know, that's pretty much why I'm doing this. So, like I said, man, thank you guys for everything.
Absolutely.
No, thank you for coming on, man. You were one we've been waiting on for a while, so this was meant a lot to us. And thank you. I know you got a busy schedule and fitting us in here. We appreciate it so much, man.
Of course.
Also, yeah, an hour and a half instead of an hour. Thank you so much. I don't know if the listeners knew, but he was genuinely kind enough to sit with us here and answer all of these questions. And I hope that everybody got to learn a little bit more about one of their favorite wrestlers at GCW. So let's close the damn thing out. I think we did it. Oh, Brent, what do you think?
Real fast. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, and if so, I just want to re-mention it again.
Yes.
The GoFundMe at the bottom was for Chris Bey. Now that I'm actually talking out, I don't think I did mention it. At the bottom, we put the GoFundMe here for Chris Bey, one of our own Vegas wrestlers and GCW's wrestled before, suffered an injury, and so if you could, anything you guys could donate, help out. And help out his road to recovery. I'm going to put it in the chat here and spam all the YouTube and Twitter chat. It is right there. Send love out. Prayers and wishes from Game Changer Weekly family definitely are going to Chris Bey, and wish him a healthy and fast recovery, however long it seems it may take.
And I will echo the same for Vikingo.
Oh yeah, that one was too. Yeah.
I don't know if there is a GoFundMe. I also don't know if there's any information to help him. Please search any out if you feel that you find it necessary. We'll also do this. Wow. Jordan Cruz, man, one of the good ones there, also suffered an injury. Fibula, I think it's the same thing that Cole Radrick was dealing with. So it's going to be a little while for him also. You know, I love the guy. Every time we're closing out LA, I always see him collecting chairs. It's like, he's one of the good ones. So hopefully all three of them can find a quick and healthy road to recovery as soon as possible. All three of these performers are wonderful and bring so much to fans. I think we did it now, right?
Yes. And we can catch Gringo on Thursday, Halloween night, going against Ray Horace now. Is that correct? They changed from Arez?
So Ares is happening in Hawaii. That's still happening as well.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a fun weekend for Gringo, man. It's two of the best luchadors on the planet. Ray Horace on Thursday, Flying Day the next day, and then November 2nd we have one-on-one with RS. So partners facing off one-on-one on the island. Couldn't ask for a better partner to tangle with on the island. So let's go, man. Again, going back to the injuries, man. 3 just major punches to the gut, man, with Vikingo, Bey, and who you mentioned earlier, and then somebody just mentioned ELP too, man, who's going through what he's going through too. Like everything that we go through, you know, for the fans and for this business, like it can all end in 1 second, and that's just, you know, it's a realization that, you know, don't take anything for granted in this business because it could get taken away in one day. You know, like safety is the number one priority.
Yeah,
You
live by that too. Well said.
Didn't want to end the show on a bad note, but I once I saw it, like I don't think I did mention it, so I just wanted to make sure we mentioned that. And any way you can support, it's at the bottom of there for GoFundMe. All right, John, we ready to send him out here? Gringo's probably like, let's get out of here.
No,
stick with us. Stick with us after we go off the air, Gringo. I'll just say hi real quick and we'll send you out, kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything. Next week we have another show. We have 2 more shows. We got San Diego and Hawaii we're going to be looking at. I may or may not have my first ever Tuesday off in well over 2 years here. We'll see what happens. Elections coming up and it's going to be crazy. So we'll see what happens there. I may just want to watch that night, and I'm not even Mr. Political that much, but wild times. Yeah, that's, I think, everything.
Yeah, and I will be here next Tuesday for sure. So there will be a show next Tuesday. Yes. Just to clarify that. All right, here we go. You ready, John? Brother. Let's get it right for Gringo. We got a lot to impress him here.
Yeah. We always get this right. You ready?
Long.
We did that one. Go. Good.
Live.
Oh G. It's always fucked. GCW. I said G twice. GCW. Have a great night, guys. Love you.